Hello everyone. Welcome to this video. Welcome to my channel. My name is Brenda Campbell. I am an artist and a certified Zentangle teacher. Today is Mindful Monday, and on Mindful Mondays, I guide you through the 8 steps of the Zentangle Method of drawing. It is a meditative art form. It helps to bring some calm into your moments, into your life. It helps to bring some peace. It helps to get you creative if that's what you're looking for. But today we are focused on mindfulness, which simply means trying to keep your mind on the moment right now. Oftentimes we're thinking about things we've already done, and we are looking forward to things that we will do, and we don't spend very much time just sitting in the moment. So today we're going to, for at least a short while, do a little bit of mindfulness, and we are going to do that through the Zentangle method of drawing. I find it to be magical. It's truly changed my life. I think it may change yours as well if you just give it a try. So grab a pen, a pencil, something to smudge your pencil with, even if that's your finger, but you might use a Q-tip or something like that, and a piece of paper. I am going to be using a Zentangle tile. It's a classic 3.5-inch white Zentangle tile. I'm also going to use a Micron PN pen. I'm going to use a pencil, and this is a Zentangle pencil, but it's just a simple graphite pencil. I'm using a tortillon to blend my graphite. And I want to let you know this is the first video I am recording since I've returned from my little vacation in Sedona, Arizona. And I have a new stone, a new little heart stone. This is Snowflake Obsidian. It called to me, so I grabbed it. It has a lot of healing properties. There's a reflection there, so it's kind of shiny. But anyway, what I want to also point out is we have little Bijou, our Zentangle mascot, letting us know that we need to remember and slow down. So that is our lesson takeaway today. We're going to jump right into step 1, gratitude and appreciation. And in this step, I am going to simply talk you through a short breathing exercise. I am going to help you get settled into the moment. So go ahead and get comfortable wherever you are. If you are okay closing your eyes, you're welcome to do that as well. And we are going to begin with just a couple of deep breaths. Breathing in and getting tall on the inhale, and breathing out and just letting everything relax as you exhale. And again, breathing in and out. Relax your face, drop your shoulders. One final big breath in and out. Now just let your breath fall into a natural breathing rhythm and follow it. Pay attention to that breath. Thoughts will come in. That's natural. Just acknowledge them and then let them go. And refocus back on your breath. Now take a moment to think about something you're grateful for. It doesn't have to be a big thing, it can be a little thing. But whatever that first thought is that pops into your head, just grab onto that and hold on to it and feel that gratitude. What does that feel like? And keep breathing. And remember this feeling as we draw today. If you reach a point where you just need a little break, stop yourself. Take a big breath. Focus on your breathing. And when you're ready, just pick up your pen and go back to work. And it's a nice little break for you. And that is all there is to step 1, gratitude and appreciation. Now, step 2, we're going to do using our pencil, and we are going to put a dot in each of these 4 corners. And step 3 is a border, and we are going to just connect these dots to create a border. You notice I'm turning my tile. That keeps my wrist a little bit more comfortable, but it also helps to keep my line a bit more consistent. Step 4 is our string. Now the string is just simply a line or a series of lines that divide the space on our tile and give us places to put our tangles or patterns. So we're going to do a string today that, let's start up here just under the corner on the left side, my left, I'm right-handed. You can do it on the other side if it's easier for you or if you're left-handed. And we're going to draw kind of a curved V line to about the center. I'm a little to the right, but it doesn't matter. Then I'm going to draw another curvy line up, but it's only going to go a short ways up. So we have this kind of a V or a hill with a valley and then another little hill. And that is our string. So for the moment, we're finished with our pencils. I'm going to put mine away. And I am going to pick up my Micron PN pen. The PN stands for plastic nib. That just gives me a little wider line, but also gives me a little more sturdiness in the nib because it is plastic. And I tend to have a heavy hand, so this way I can't really break the nib. I can sometimes with the other more finer tip ones. But lucky for me, I like a wide line, so it works out just fine. Today we are going to begin with the tangle echoism or echoism. And it's kind of a curly Q line. It's a really fun one to draw. So I'm going to start with a straight line coming from the center of my taller string space of my bigger of the 2 mountains, I guess, or the 2 hills. So from the center there, I am going to coming up, and I'm making this rounded circle, and I'm coming all the way to my pencil string line with the loop on the bottom. And again, and I'm coming all the way down. So these are like figure 8s. That one was a little skinnier, but it's okay. There's another one. And they do get smaller as I go up. And I'm just going to top it off with the line that meets here. So I just have a pointy thing. We're going to decorate this. So the next step is in each one of the circular loops, we're going to draw a spiral that spirals inside. So I like to start here near the point, and I'm just going to aura inside and then stop short because I'm going to come back and do the same thing again and again and again. And there's my first one. And I'm going to go into each one of these and do the same thing. So take your time, and you can make these spirals as close together or tight or as loose far apart as you like. For me, these are kind of closer together than I sometimes do, but that's okay. I'm happy with that. Then I'm going to turn it around so I can do the same thing, which is to start at the point to make my spiral. That one is pretty small, so it didn't get much. So take your time. Okay, so the next thing I want to do with this tangle is I want to draw an aura that goes all the way around the outside. So I start here where I began with what kind of looks like a little stem. And then I'm going to aura around. And then here I come back out. And I'm trying to turn my tile as I go to help keep my line a little more consistent. Okay, so now I have my aura that kind of closes the whole thing up. And because I always like to include a little bit of drama in my tiles, I am going to take this open space in between these spirals, and I'm going to do an aura that outlines the inside of the space. And then I'm going to fill it in with solid black. And I've got a little bit of my drama there. And I'm going to do that in each one of these sections. So if you are drawing along, then you can go ahead and take your time. You can pause the video, fill all of your sections in, like I said, taking all the time you want. And when you're ready, you can come back, unpause the video, and then we'll be ready to move on to the next tangle. Go ahead and pause your video now. Okay, we're back, and I am finished with this first tangle, which is egoism. So our second tangle today is flux. Now, flux is another organic tangle, and we are going to start by drawing like a line or a vine, if you will, of flux. Now, flux kind of has these little teardrop leaf shapes, and you can draw it lots of different ways. Here it kind of goes behind that egoism. I really should pick one and stick with it, but I can't decide. And I'm just going back and forth, trying to keep attached to the line. You see me turning my tile as I do that. Now these shapes are relatively the same size, but they don't have to be. They could certainly be smaller or larger. I'm just doing like a little offshoot over there. And I'm going to do another one over here. Let's turn it and do another one here. And I'm going to come up behind there. Is that enough? I don't like that that's the same height. So let's grow that. And I'll do another one over here. Yeah, that looks good to me. Okay, so I've got enough flux shapes to satisfy my flux fix. And I'm going to decorate this one as well. And I'm going to begin by just drawing a line from below the top in the center down to the center where they kind of all come together. And I use that line to help me give some shape to these, so they kind of curl and curve depending on the direction they go. And I think that's what I really like about this pattern, this tangle flux. And it's just fun to draw. Okay, now you could be okay with that if you want. I also like to add a black dot at the tip. I leave space between the line and the dot. But I just like this little decoration. There are lots of ways to draw flux, and this is just what I like to draw. But there are multiple different versions of that as well. And another fun thing to do here is to add in between, where there's space in between our flux, I'm going to add some black circles. You could just make orbs if you wanted, but I like to add that little extra touch of drama. And I leave a little white dot, and that's kind of like a sparkle. Let's put one over here. And how about here? You can really put as many of these in here as you like. I'm going to put a couple more, and I think that gives me 7. I also like to stick with the odd numbers, so let's put one here. Okay, so that is our flux tangle. Now the next thing we're going to do is not a tangle exactly. We are going to put an aura around our egoism shape. And I'm going to start here in the corner. You can start wherever yours whatever makes sense for where your tangle is, because everyone's is going to be a little bit different. Now, because I put my spirals fairly close together, I'm going to make these aura lines a little farther apart. And that way, I'm going to have a little bit more contrast between the close together lines and the farther apart lines. Now you could fill this whole space if you want to, but that's not really my intention. I might just do another one or two here. Yeah, that should be good. Okay, so those are my tangles or my patterns. I'm going to put my pen away and I'm going to pick my pencil back up, and we are moving to step 6, which is the shading. As with all tangles, there are multiple ways to shade as well. So with this tangle here, this echoism that we began with, I am going to put a little line of graphite underneath the shapes and on the right side of what looks like a stem. Now I have a pretty heavy hand with just about everything, and that includes graphite. So I'm trying not to put too much on there. Now I'm going to take that first aura that we drew around, and I'm putting my graphite just outside of that line. Okay. Now I'm going to pick up my tortillon and I am going to blend that out. I still turn my tile, even though I am shading. And when I come over here by these black orbs, I'm going to try not to get any graphite on top of those, because adding graphite to solid black actually makes it lighter. And I'm trying to make a little bit of more darkness, some shades of gray here with this graphite. That's really all I need for shading. But because I've got some excess on my tortillon, I am going to start in the center of each of these spirals and just kind of blend out a little bit of the graphite on each one, but just in the center. I'm not going very far. Remember, we're just adding some shades of gray to give us some contrast. Okay, so we're finished with that shading. And now I'm going to pick my pencil back up and we are going to shade our flux. Now, flux is also kind of fun to shade, and I typically begin by starting with the center line, or the line where they connect. So here I've got an offshoot there, got an offshoot there, and I've kind of got an offshoot here. So I'm just putting a little bit on each of the bottom corners. Now I also have a spot here where this one goes behind. So I'm going to go ahead and put some graphite there, and maybe there, but yep, that looks pretty good. You don't need much graphite. I've got my tortillon back out, and I am going to blend out, and I blend that center line and push a little bit out into each of the leaf shapes. So from the center into that line in the center on each of the leaf shapes. And another thing we can do is where we have these flux that are just right up against that background, we can add a little tiny bit, and I'm just using what's left over on my tortillon to kind of put a little bit of shadow, a shade of gray, if you will, on the edge, and that just gives it a little bit of separation from the white background. That's all I'm doing here. You don't have to do this. It's just a little fun thing to do. Okay, so we're done shading our flux, and I'm going to get my pencil out one more time, and we're going to come over here to this aura that we drew, and we are going to put a line of graphite on each one of these spots where they come to a point. Then I'm going to blend that out, and I'm going to do that by starting in the center, and then I'm going to go a little bit into each of the sides. So starting in the center, and then I'll come over here a little bit, I'll go over there a little bit. And same thing here. Now I'm going to do this behind the flux, because it looks like the flux is in front. Okay. You can add any little extras if you want. I might add, again, a little bit here, the edges where my border is, and then at the top where it meets that white background, just to give it some separation. Here, it goes behind the flux, so I'm putting some more shadow there. That should be good. Okay, so that is step 6, the shading, and I'm going to get my pen back out for step 7. Step 7 is to initial and sign your piece, and I use a chop, which is an artist mark. It is, in my case, it's kind of a stylized version of my initials, B and C. So I'm going to put my little chop right here in this spot, and it will go behind my flux. And then I'll have my 3 little black perfs. And so there's my chop, my initials on the front. I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to sign it on the back. And then I'll date it, but I'm going to do that off camera. I am going to make note of our tangles. So we started with egoism, and then we did flux, and then we simply drew auras. It's not really a tangle, but it was kind of fun to draw that. And you can put any other notes on the back of your tile or your paper. I really will put a date on it, and I recommend you always do that, because it's fun to go back and see what you've done, say, a year ago or even a month ago. So I'm going to put a note on mine, though, because I'm going to say that I drew this for my Mindful Monday 67. That is step 7. And step 8 is simply to sit back and appreciate your tile. So appreciate your time. Just take some time to have some gratitude for this moment and appreciate that you took that time for yourself today. And that's all there is to the 8 steps of the Zentangle method of drawing. So you see, it's really just a meditative process. It's the journey that we focus on, not necessarily the outcome, although oftentimes we have a lot of nice outcomes. So there you have it. I know if you drew with me, yours will look much different than mine, and that's perfectly fine. We are all unique. I hope you enjoyed the process, or even if you just watched along, thank you for being here. And until next time, remember to be you and be happy.